Michael Thomas, wide receiver for the Saints. It's been a tumultuous week for him, to say the least. He was fined and sat out Monday's game following a fight with a teammate during Saturday's practice. Now, a new report from The Athletic that Thomas has, quote, too often crossed the line while communicating with coaches and team personnel. The report also saying Thomas was fined not just for the altercation, but more so based on his growing reputation for being difficult. Well, it didn't take long for Thomas to respond with a number of tweets. You ain't a snake, but they will make you. Then this, think what you want. I ain't trying to clear no rumors up. And then this in response to a question about his health. I was never healthy. I was just trying to help my team get a win and heal up during the bye. Had a setback, was so close, and I take my health seriously. Now I'm a bad guy, LOL. All right, there's a lot to unpack here. Brandon, I'll start with you. Is Michael Thomas an issue for the New Orleans Saints?
He can be. He can be. And let me start by saying this. I was there for a month. And, you know, probably the first week there on campus, I went to our wide receivers coach and I said, Coach, I'm telling you, I think this dude is the closest thing to me. When I played in New York, OBJ was close, but he was a little different. Like, OBJ was like superstar. And when I talked to our receiver coach in New Orleans, and what I was referring to was the intensity. You heard Coach Mangini yesterday talk about Jerry Rice, what made him great. Every single day, this was the standard. The bar was set up here. If you didn't come with it, the quarterback, coach, defensive back, everybody in the building is going to feel it. And that was Mike Thomas. He was locked in soon as he walked in the building, and I absolutely loved it. But week 3, week 4, I realized, like, man, this dude, he lives at that line. So I'm not surprised by this. I was a guy in my first 4 years of my career, I didn't live on the line. I crossed the line. So I would be good one day, and then when we got into these moments in practice, I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't have the skills. So I would immediately go to the other side, and guys like, man, this is Jekyll and Mr. Hyde or whatever the thing is. So that's how guys looked at me. Mike Thomas, he straddles that fence. And I think this could be a turning point for him. And he has to embrace this. Because you got to think about this. For the past 4 years, we haven't heard any stories. Everything's been great. Everything's great about Mike T. He's not that prima donna. But the reality is that intensity can sometimes push people away. Well, it could be a distraction. It could be detrimental to your team. So for me, seeing this, I love Mike Thomas, his tenacity, but you got to learn how to have that switch. And, guys, I'm sorry to take it too far, but it took me 4 years to realize that. And in 2011, I was on the campus of McLean Hospital for 3 months. I was in an outpatient program where I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. I was in dialectical behavior therapy, mentalization therapy, self-assessment, cognitive behavior therapy to learn the skills and tools to be able to cope and manage stress or emotions. And guys in the NFL or an NBA, when there's pressure on you every single day, you have to learn how to turn that switch on and off, because at the end of the day, it's about relationships. You can't rock the boat. And for Mike T, this could be a turning point for him, Nick.
So, all right, so there's a lot to unpack there. I thought about, because I knew your story before I knew you, it's well documented, and it's one of the greatest success stories in the last 20 years in sports, because with respect, and I know you won't take this the wrong way, not just your career, your life could have gone one way. Yeah. And you got what you needed to make sure it went the other way. And I actually thought about it when we were talking about the racial justice protests, and you put on your Instagram video when you were racially profiled trying to get into your house and they called the cops on you. And I was watching it, I'm like, your ability to stay calm, and your ability, even in that moment, like, you apologize for raising your voice. And I'm thinking, I'm like, man, I wonder what a decade ago, Brandon Marshall, how he would have dealt with this as opposed to right now. And I say that to say this. You saw, there was an odd moment this summer on Instagram. And it's going to seem like an odd connection to make, but when Michael Thomas flipped out on Devontae Parker for no reason, Fox NFL put up this poll. What's tougher, making a catch while guarded by Stephon Gilmore or breaking up a pass while guarding Michael Thomas? Devontae Parker, who's never tried to break up a pass from Michael Thomas but has been guarded by Gilmore, he writes A, meaning I'll go with it's tougher to be guarded by Gilmore. And Michael Thomas goes to the IG comments, we don't have to read them all, where he's like, essentially, this is why you're whack. This is why your career's been a failure. Keep my name out your mouth. Just flipped out on him. And I saw that, I'm like, man, this dude is high-strung all the time. Yeah. Like, the old Cat Williams line, like, you're going to be banging at breakfast? Like, you're going to be eating your cereal being hard? Like, chill out. Like, take a deep breath. And so I do wonder, Brandon, if someone like you, who plays the same position, played with him briefly, and went through some real struggles, I think different than what he's going through, could
correct
explain
totally
to him,
different.
Hey man, no matter how talented you are, this can go sideways in a hurry, no matter how great you are as a player.
Yeah, and I think it's important to say that for me, my emotions got the best of me off the field and on the field. And for him, it's on the field, right? So I think it's important for us to clarify that and say that, because he's not a bad kid. But, Nick, you are 100% right. He is revved up all the time. Greatness is on his mind all the time. And it takes me back to 2011 when I first got to the Miami Dolphins. KO, our physical therapist, one of our team trainers, he walked in the training room one day and he gave me this piece of paper. And on this piece of paper it read, "Succeed with character." And that's it. He didn't say anything. And that was a defining moment in my life. I took that and I got it laminated, and I put it in every single locker for the next 8 years, because I was like, wow, like, who am I to every year have 100 catches, to make it to a Pro Bowl, 6 Pro Bowls, do over $100 million in deals, but I have no relationships. I keep getting traded. And for me, that was a defining moment. And for him, yes, I think that he can learn from this. He should learn from this. And the reality is, and the reason why it works in New Orleans, and this is going to be crazy to say this, but Drew Brees, Coach Payton, and Mike T is the same guy. They're the same guy, and that's why it works, and that's why they understand him, and that's why it's taken this long for them to understand, like, for this stuff to come out. But Drew Brees and Coach Coach Payton know how to communicate. They know how to manage their emotions. And with Mike T, he's at 100 all the time, and that's good for him and it's bad for him. Yeah, man, this is an interesting story. I love Mike. I just think that this could be a defining moment for him.
Brandon, I want to talk about social media, because it's flared up in these last few weeks, right? Devontae Adams was tweeted something about, like, I guess the Packers know my body better than me, and then he deleted it. Le'Veon Bell the other day was liking tweets that said he should be traded. Then they released him. And now Mike Thomas goes on a little Twitter rampage here. Like, social media was around when you were playing, but it didn't seem like it was at the heights it is right now.
No, it was there.
Is there just like a LeBron 0 dark 30 thing? It's like, you know what, first step, there's a lot of things we can do to get on the path to be like totally on the straight and narrow, but like, let's just like not tweet. Let's just like get off social media. Is that I know it might be too simplistic, but it feels like a step in the right direction.
Don't air your dirty laundry out in the streets. That's what that is, right? So for me, I always look at it, I can, take football and sports out of it. I hate when I go on Instagram or Twitter and there's somebody like, oh, I just broke up with my boyfriend, or my girlfriend, I erased all the pictures. It's like, come on, man. Like, are we going to do that there? And it's the same thing in sports. Like, just keep that in-house. It makes no sense to me. That's not what it's for. So I was always a guy, to me, I just looked at my teammates like this. Bosses don't move like that. We don't air our dirty laundry out like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you do that in the locker room. You come to me, man, and let's have those conversations. I just think it's a mistake, because now if you're going to tweet it and then delete it, then why you tweet it? Like, tweet it and leave it out there. Be a man. Don't go ahead.
But
y'all
for today's generation, for a lot of these guys, I know we see that. It's their way of expressing themselves, and they don't have any other outlet. But you're absolutely right. Saints are on a bye this week, so they'll have a chance for Michael Thomas to rest up. All right, switch gears. New guard versus old guard in the AFC North. Baker and the Browns going up against Big Ben and those undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers. It's must-watch football. We will discuss football next. First things